Recording will begin in about 10 seconds. Okay, we're being recorded. Hello, everyone. Tim Dunn here. Thanks for joining us today for the resident portion of the course. First and foremost, let us know if you are having access or functionality issues. I know you all are sent somehow to the course EO01 instead of EO02, but it looks like most of you all are back here. Like I was telling other people, for Blackboard, Chrome browser for both Safari and PC is the browser you should use for Blackboard. It has the least problems than any of the other browsers. I highly recommend you download that before class on Monday. The next best is Edge Chromium, but not Edge, but Edge Chromium. But still, Blackboard is made for the Chrome browser. And so everybody knows we are recording each lesson in Blackboard to memorialize this class for a DSCU. So are there any issues with functionality? If you look down below on your screen, you'll see my status settings. Next to that is your audio, and next to that is share video. We'll not be using the share video that much, as it takes up a lot of bandwidth. And then the next thing over there is raise hand. So as to not to jump on each other, recommend either raise hand or say something in the chat. Chat's over next to your to the right, below that. I want to briefly introduce Mrs. Amy Henson. She'll be our class manager. You'll meet her on Monday. Please take a moment to write down her contact information displayed on the slide, especially her email address, and that's the best way to contact her. And if you encounter any problems during this course, to include tardiness or absences, please contact Amy to let her know as soon as possible. So I'll just leave this up for a few more seconds so you can write down her information. So let's begin by looking at a brief look at the agenda for the introduction course. In this lesson, we'll discuss instructor and student introductions, address administrative notes, and the schedule of the course, as well as discuss why this course is important and how it relates to the online training you already just completed. Some of you are still doing, but hopefully we'll have finished by Monday. So I'll let you review this for about 20-30 seconds. This is the instructor bios and their backgrounds. Okay, move on. So now that you have a general understanding of the structure of this course, I want to have us introduce ourselves. I will call on each of you individually to tell the class about yourself. Please state your name, what unit position you're doing, and what your AME responsibilities are, and what aspects of AME interest you the most. Also, please ensure your microphone is not muted when it is your turn to speak. So is Exie, are you back in? Nope, she's coming back. Not yet. So let's begin with Ben Kim.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Ben. Can you hear me?
We have you loud and clear.
All right, fantastic. So, my name is Ben. I'm at J58 AFRICOM. Currently, duty position is the Deputy Div Chief for the time being. AM&E responsibilities. Right now, it's helping to develop the AM&E branch. And what aspects of AM&E interest you? I guess how the evaluations tie into how everything ties in into our plans, how yeah, I'm kind of lost for words. Everything interests me with A&E.
Great, Ben. Thank you.
Yep,
Appreciate that.
yep.
Uh, Brandon, you're up next.
Hi, Tim. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandon Denicky. I'm at Headquarters United States Army Europe in the G5 International Operations Division. My position is I'm the branch chief for the Plans and Programs branch. My AM&E responsibilities now are primarily monitoring programs. We don't have a formal AM&E process yet at Headquarters USER, but we are monitoring programs. In the aspect of AM&E that most interests me is evaluating partner commitment to programs that we jointly develop and implement and evaluating their will to participate. And thank you. Looking forward to the course.
Thanks, Brandon. Great. I see you and XC have left the mainland and have gone off to Europe. So I hope you guys are enjoying that, despite what's going on with COVID. All right, next up is Casey.
Hey, good afternoon from Colorado Springs, Casey Ward. I am currently sitting in the Northcom J59, the Security Cooperation Integration Branch. My position is the senior analyst on the AM&E contract team here at Northcom. What aspects and my responsibilities are I actually do this stuff, everything that we're talking about in the class are all my responsibilities as the contractor here to do these things. And then what aspects interest me the most? I think the fact that we're actually doing AM&E. I was a SCO out in Indonesia several years ago, and I think that we got away with a lot of pet projects and things that didn't necessarily make sense. And I think that this project or this process will help us eliminate some of those things and help us actually get a return on investment for the American taxpayer. Over.
Thanks, Casey. Were you the SCO chief at ODC Jakarta, or
I was the deputy SCO chief there in 2012-13.
Was that Mark Riley then?
No, it was. Oh man, his name's escaping me right now. I'll text it to you.
All right. Thanks. Welcome. Next up, Dave.
Yes, hi, my name is Dave Goen. I work for DSCA. I'm an embed with the AFRICOM J581 team. My position is that of a planning and program design program analyst. My responsibilities within AM&E is I'll serve as the U.S. government lead when we actually have the ability to go back out and proceed in doing the assessments and the unit type of responsibilities that our contracting AM&E team have. What aspect most interests me? I really enjoy the full spectrum and looking to sit there and bring as much value to the process as I can because it's of great importance and value to the department.
Great, Dave. Thanks for sharing. Much appreciated. Exie? Exie, can you hear me? So can you introduce yourself? Down below is your sharing audio where you see the microphone. You just click it on. Okay, XE, we'll come back to you. Jeff?
Yeah, good afternoon or good evening, depending where you are. Hope you can hear me okay. So my name is Jeff Oravec. My position, I am working in the Undersecretary of the Air Force for International Affairs at the Pentagon. So the office that does all of our security cooperation programs and foreign military sales, things like that. I serve as the Chief International Health Advisor there. So my background is actually as a physician, but I've been doing global health for about, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. So I am the health advisor to international affairs. Currently, I'm deployed, so I'm actually in Kuwait. So I'm hoping that this all works out with telecommunications and whatnot. But I'll let you know if I have issues. Seems to be working so far. In terms of AM&E responsibilities, I mean, for us, it's all about medical security cooperation and our programs. I think what will be very beneficial from this course is seeing how our programs can fit into SSCI's, how they should be written, what that looks like. From what I've seen at the Pentagon, I think there's a lot of confusion about what level SSCIs sit at and where the IDDs are and things of that nature. So, getting that kind of clarified so our teams can go ahead and put programs and then we'll fit into those larger projects, I think would be really good. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. So far, you're the clearest guy we could hear, so Kuwait has good internet connectivity there. And then obviously, later on in this brief, I'll be saying some more, few things about some of the things you just brought up. Okay, Jason?
Hey, how y'all doing? This is Major Jason Carney. I'm a AFRICOM FAO, currently stationed at USAFEF Africa International Affairs, Africa branch. So I've been here for about 3.5 years. So I'm actually going to press on to my next assignment here next week. I'm going to go take command of a multinational squadron, a NATO squadron, down in Sigonella in Sicily, supporting aircraft maintenance for the NATO Army force there. So a little bit outside of the normal security cooperation track, but still very much in international affairs and everything else. So anyway, I'm really most excited about AM&E because I think it's something that at least in Africa is not well understood yet. We do a lot that supports it. We probably need to do more, but it also probably needs to be focused more. And what interests me most is if we can find a way to effectively implement some effective AM&E controls, finding ways to actually get after the strategic objectives that we're looking for, especially in the AFRICOM AOR. I think that it's AM&E is oftentimes misunderstood, as I said before, and I think that as we get more professional as a security cooperation cohort or force, we'll find new and innovative ways to do this. Over.
Thanks, Jason. Agreed. Okay, Jeff Gray, to avoid all the Jeffs.
Hey, hello everybody. From here in Stuttgart, Jeff Gray here. So I'm working at AFRICOM J58. Current position, I'm in transition right now. Lori Renwick, who I believe is also in this course, backfilled me. But during my time here, I was formerly the counterterrorism BPC branch chief. But what I've transitioned to until at PCS to SOCOM will be working as the AFRICOM Security Cooperation Workforce Development SME, as DSE has rolled out the guidance as far as the certification for folks that are tied to security cooperations. As far as what my AM&E responsibilities, of course, I've been working with the AFRICOM team as we've looked at, how we were reorganizing in the J58 to support the AM&E process, mandated by the NDA 2017 requirements, and of course what DSE and OSD has laid out as far as, excuse me, the requirements tied to the SSCI planning process. So it has been a hurdle as far as taking what I think, AFRICOM had a decent process in the past, but just bringing all those products that are looking at I think more focused at the assessments, and of course where we're taking the SSCI planning process to that next step is, how we're doing a better job with the monitoring and evaluation and how that ties into, as far as the OSD requirements that have been mandated, of course, across DoD. What aspects do I that interest me on the AMD side? Of course, I'd say probably more on the assessment piece because I've participated on a number of the DSEA-led assessments of our BPC type activities on the continent, to travel to the continent just to assess programs where they're at, if they're meeting those capabilities. I mean, that's where I have a little bit more expertise versus the monitoring and evaluation. That's it for me. Over.
Thanks, Jeff. Great experience, sounds like there. Next up, JD.
Hello, everyone. It's JD Barnes. I am currently at Air Combat Command at Joint Base Langley Eustis in Virginia. I am sitting in the Deputy Director for International Affairs position. So my responsibilities, I kind of direct the activities for our international engagement branch, which really has a responsibility to coordinate with those subordinate air forces to the GCCs and integrating foreign partner air forces. What most interests me is obviously the design portions of AM&E, and then the assessment. It's as we continue to support how the USAFEs and Africas and PACAPs of the world integrate 5th Gen and other capabilities, air capabilities for their partners, that those key assessment portions and design portions will be becoming much more important. So that's what we're charged to do.
Thanks, JD. Appreciate it. Jim? It shows your mic on, but we don't hear you, Jim. Okay, we got you now.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry about that. Again, my name is Jim Bramble. I work at US AFRICOM in the J581 building partner capacity. My current position is the Deputy Branch Chief of the J581. We manage all 333 authorities. I work very privileged with a great group of program managers who have responsibility for various countries and 333 programs therein. We are currently in the throes of final submission of the SSCIs, which will turn in on Monday, but part of the SSCIs pertain to AM&E responsibilities, identifying how we plan to measure these programs over the next 5 years. What interests me most about AM&E is the monitoring and control. I'm PMP certified, and to me, you've got to maintain an understanding how a program is progressing and be able to make corrections midstream if necessary to ensure a successful outcome. Anyway, it's a pleasure and looking forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. John Hampton? Okay, John, can't hear you. We just got like some background noise. No, John, still we don't have you. Okay, John, we'll come back to you because we still have just background noise from you. John Morton?
Hey, how's everybody doing? John Morton here. I work for UCOM J4 in the J45 Plans, Exercises, and Engagements branch. I'm the program lead for the operational logistics capability line of activity. So my AME responsibilities, I have 22 countries that are within the UCOM AOR under my portfolio. And so the AME portion comes in for the milestones and tasks that are tied to the SMART objectives for those particular countries. And that's through the programs that we have and the operations activities and investments. And for the aspect of AME that most interests me, after going through the online portion of this course, I would say all of it. Reason is I'm taking a legacy program right now and retooling and rebranding that program so that it aligns better to the current operational environment within UCOM. So all of the information is going to be quite useful for me going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Jonathan?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Gotcha. Lima Charlie.
Great. Yeah, hi, Jonathan Spoyer. I'm currently the Jordan Country Desk Officer with US RCENT. My main responsibilities are just to monitor my programs as they are, COVID notwithstanding, and also to make sure that the plans we write do actually nest, not that we just say they do, with not only US RCENT, but with the combat command and higher levels. And then the aspect that interests me most about AME is exactly that. How do we really measure that at our highest levels we're nesting to what's a global plan and global priorities? And really interested in seeing how that might be coming along, with this job, and then also with my last job, which I just came out of being the SCO chief in Nepal. And so, seeing, countries that are important, countries that are not important, regions that are important, regions that are not important, how do we really nest what our activities are, and then assess, monitor, and evaluate. Over.
Thanks, Jonathan. I was last in Nepal in 2016. Lori?
Hi, Lori Renwick from AFRICOM at J581 Branch Chief, which is BPC. It's been relabeled from CT to BPC. I just started in November, and essentially, as Jim and Jeff have both kind of opened, the SSCIs are in full swing. I'm working diligently with the AM&E Branch Chief, Joe Novak and Michelle Lunis, who was in the course before this, in reference to building the AM&E products and how we're going to develop those into an annex for the SSCIs. What I'm most interested in is to figure out how we can collect in the monitoring plan and then effectively turn that into the evaluation so that we can affect our programs. Of course, they're long-term programs for 5 years, and so I'm just curious exactly how long it's going to take to get enough monitoring to be able to make decisions and to go forward. So that's what I'm excited to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Luke?
Aloha, everyone. My name is Luke Tadioka. I'm in the Indo-PACOM J45 Security Assistance. My position is a Security Assistance Program Officer. It's an IMA reservist position, and I just started, so I'm not exactly sure what my responsibilities will be. However, my day job is a Foreign Service Officer with the Department of State, so I'm really interested to see how DoD and DOS intersect in regards to AM&E. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Natalie?
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Cameron. I work at the Marine Corps Security Cooperation Group at Fort Story, Virginia Beach, Virginia. I mainly work Title 22 programs, international military education and training. So therefore, I don't have too many AM&E responsibilities directly. I do sometimes touch Title 10 333 programs and help support with outputs for that. In past positions, I've heard a lot about AM&E, so I'm kind of interested how this is all coming together years later. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Reno?
Yes, I'm Reno Bamford. I am with U.S. Army Africa, Vicenza, Italy. I serve as the Deputy Branch Chief for South and East Africa in our Security Cooperation Directorate. Right now, I'd say my responsibilities are just, we don't have our ANME team fully staffed up yet, so just ensuring that our OPRs understand ANME responsibilities when they're building their new case. And then I'm most interested in what I think is the art in developing or listing out the outputs and outcomes and just making sure we're able and measuring accurate things.
Thanks, Rena. We'll be covering all that in the course here. Okay, let's try go back to John Hampton. Okay, John, we still have the same issues before, so. Okay, so we'll be doing, we'll do this again on Monday, but a shortened version, except for the two that weren't able to give us a full one today, John and Exie. The rest will give a shortened version. And the reason why we're doing this, trying to do this again, is so everybody gets to know each other. You know, we're trying to replicate an in-class environment online. So doing some things repeatedly helps us to make a an in-class experience online. So we'll do this again on Monday, but a shortened version. So take a moment to review the lesson and the learning objectives before we continue. So, although conducted in a virtual setting, we expect the students and us instructors to adhere to the same standards of conduct present in a physical classroom. Remaining engaged and interactive, like we were just trying to do, be engaged and interactive during the course will help you and us succeed during the assigned exercises. Additionally, I'd like to emphasize the following actions that are imperative for a successful virtual learning experience. Please join from a quiet place. I know some people have issues with that, but please do try to join from a quiet place. As I stated before, keep the share video camera off. It takes up a lot of bandwidth. Please be in business casual attire and an appropriate video background that will help us set the tone for the day of being online as an in-person experience. Keeping your microphone on mute until you speak will greatly enhance the instruction and audio quality for the class. Try to use either the chat, which some of you have already learned over there in the right, or below next to these sharing audio and sharing video is the raise hand, and then we'll get to you, those that raise their hands. We encourage you to download and all of the reference and resource material for the course, and try to refrain from doing other tasks on your computer while the class is in session. Finally, please modify your photo. Most of you all do have a photo and name to match our standardized template, which most of you already have done. And I'll go in how you can do that when we get into to edit your profile under the settings menu when I go into some of the other functions in the Blackboard. So during all phases of the course, we want you to feel free to share your opinions and your experiences. A lot of you have vast experience, some 30 some years, and some that I've worked with before in the class here. So we were like other places, we're going to follow the Chatham House rules in the course. Feel free to use the information you've gained, but do not attribute it to any instructor, student, and if we get a guest speaker, any guest speaker. Please show each other mutual respects during discussions. We all have different perspectives. We've seen some things work. We've seen some things not work. We've seen some things working in a country that doesn't work in another. So there are different perspectives. Be professional, and please try not to use your cell phone or computer. Well, don't use your cell phone or computer to record sessions or conversations. As I said before, we are recording it to memorialize the class for DSCU. And lastly, keep all conversations at the unclass level. There's plenty of examples out there that are unclass, and most of the SSCIs are supposed to be unclass. Each day will begin with class preparation time, followed by a virtual lesson review. The class prep time is a great opportunity to review your notes and exercises from the previous day and prepare for the next lesson. Example, before every lesson, there's a 3 to 4 minute webcast before each lesson. It's a great time to review those. The lesson review time provides a platform for students to ask instructors to review the previous day's material and address any questions. We'll be on to address any questions and issues that you have. But please try to enter the classroom 10 minutes prior to the scheduled daily session. I know we had issues today with the link, and I'm glad you all made it to this classroom. Instructors will utilize short quizzes and polls during the facilitated discussions to gauge understanding of the concepts you've learned. Upon completion of a lesson or facilitated discussion, students will be broken down into subgroups, and we'll be going through some exercises in each of those subgroups. Some or all groups will present their work for discussion at the end of the exercise. And each day we will do a wrap-up to review the assigned tasks and outputs due for the next day. There are numerous electronic resources that will assist you in the completion of this course, and they can be found in the residence resource area of Blackboard. You should be able to see that by this weekend, the resident portion. I'll walk you through that in a little bit here, where that will be, so you all know where to find that. And a lot of the resources will look familiar because some of them have been used for previous DSCU courses. Additionally, at the end of each lesson, we want you to complete a survey, and we will ask for your accurate and honest feedback because we want to improve this for future iterations of the course, and look forward to that. So let me try to share application screen. I'm going to go to my Chrome tab, course room, share, still that. All right. So this is the window effect, which I'm trying to avoid. So when I get to it, all right, so this is the home page that you all hopefully came in. If you can see, below home is the virtual classroom. Does everybody see that? Somebody just raise your hand and tell me you can see that on the screen. Great, appreciate it. So you can see here, it's still, for you, it's still blacked out, is the residence area. You'll get that, you should get access to that this weekend. It contains our course schedule. It has the participant guide, which has many of your previous readings and Bandarea background information in it. Has your in-residence lesson, slides, the worksheets, the readmes. The school solutions will come out right before the end of that lesson, and you'll be able to use those for the next lesson exercise, because we're going to be building upon each one, and we want you to have the same information to build upon. Your Bandarea reading materials. So I recommend you to go through the background documents, and particularly the Maritime Domain Awareness 333 submission, the ICB updates, and the Bandarea AME monitoring report for radar. In the online portion, you did piracy. In this portion, we were going to be doing Maritime Domain Awareness for Bandarea. So it is slightly changed, and we'll be using the information from here for our exercises. And then under resources, there's additional resources also. Okay. Just give me a second to get back to the slide we were on. Okay, again, if you can give me a raise hand that you can see this one, resources available on Blackboard. So I know we're good to go. Great, thank you. So, getting to know our tools. Jim Bramble. Was that a late raise?
Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Okay, thanks. So we're going to go through the tools here for Blackboard. You'll see this select tool. Is one of your tools. We have a pointer. So you can move around and point. We probably won't be using that as much. A pencil, lets you to draw. One of your exercises, you get to do one of these. On your pencil. Shapes. As you can see, you can various shapes. Most of them are rectangle, ellipse, or a line. We have a text. Type in. And then to erase it all, just hit clear. All gone. Another thing to do with this, though, I'll do some shapes. If you just want to get rid of one, use the select tool, click on that shape, and then from your keyboard, hit the delete, and then it's gone. We'll be using the whiteboard at least once. Most of the things we'll be doing in the exercises will be fillable PDFs, But in the first lesson and the first exercise, we'll be using the whiteboard. You'll be needing to use these, need to use all of these tools for that. Down below is your My Status. You've already started using that a little bit. There you go. I'll open up mine. It has a agree or disagree, a happy, sad, confused face. So we'll be using those throughout the week. Also, right here, My Status. Also in My Status, if you is where you can also add your profile picture. Again, right here is your sharing your audio, sharing your video, your raised hands, your chat window, sharing, and then My Settings. Under My Settings, you can do a drop and drag a professional photo up in there. For each exercise, we're going to need a scribe for each of the subgroups. So we're looking for 3 scribes for each group. So someone would have to, again, it's a fillable PDF. When you're finished, we'll help you save it and put it up. But then in each subgroup, somebody will also have to present. So be thinking Monday, when we break it down into subgroups, somebody to describe. We'll work with you to get your scribing skills up. And so think about that, please, over the weekend. Are there any questions on the tools here on Blackboard before I go on? Okay. So why are you in this course, and why is this course important for security cooperation practitioners? Each of you will have a slightly different answer to this, but some of the overarching answers are, in addition to establishing the requirements for security cooperation practitioners to become certified at different levels, the FY 2017 NDA required the Secretary of Defense to establish and maintain an assessment, monitoring, and evaluation program for security cooperation programs and activities. One of the ways DoD is fulfilling these congressional requirements is through the Significant Security Cooperation Initiative, or SSCI paradigm. Going back to some of your other comments about that. Some of you here are particularly interested in that. The SSCI paradigm lays out a process that provides the combatant commands a way to develop and document assessments of the partner nations where we're expecting security cooperation resources. That is why in this course we teach the SSCI process as a tool to help you to become better at planning, overseeing, and executing security cooperation programs and activities. As most of you are familiar, elements of this program include numerous types of assessments used to inform and refine the security cooperation initiatives. Monitoring of programs and activities and the subsequent evaluation of their outcomes lays the foundation for future security cooperation resources. Finally, lessons learned are captured to grow institutional knowledge and increase the likelihood of success in future security cooperation initiatives. As a lot of you have already said, we're in the middle of reviewing the yearly SSCI proposals and racking and stacking them as they go up to OSD and then to Congress for resourcing. So as I said before, this is not a 333 course, but you'll learn among other programs about 333s. So 333s were initially used to capture a SSCI's program design, but when we get into the lesson 8 in the SSCI proposal, you'll see that the partner assessment and the initial design is now part of the SSCI proposal. The 333 is just one program used to achieve the SSCI objective because there are many other programs. What we are focusing on is teaching you this the process and techniques that you can use no matter how things change, because things will change again over time. Norms will change, requirements will change, but the processes we're going to go through the next few days are processes that will allow you to successfully plan, oversee, and execute security cooperation programs and activities while meeting the congressional assessment, monitoring, and evaluation requirements. And I've had to use the SSCI proposals to answer congressional RFIs, and so this part of AME has been very important to me. During this course, you'll often hear, it depends in Bandera, it depends in Bandera, or you'll hear about that later as responses to your questions, because some of those questions will be answered in the following lessons. Please remain patient. Remember that successful incorporation of a fictional case requires a deliberate and sequenced approach to learning. Both instructors and students will use Bandera as a platform to model different hypothetical security cooperation situations for learning purposes. Again, we're going through a process. Integration of student experience and knowledge of security cooperation will greatly enhance the learning experience for all. So as I said before, get to know the Bandera background documents, the AME monitoring report of Bandera radar FMS case, the maritime domain awareness for Bandera 333 proposal, the institutional capacity building of 1 and 2. So again, as I said before, the online course, you look at piracy. In this portion, we're going to look at maritime domain awareness. The online training you completed as a prerequisite for this course covered the following 7 lessons. Referring back to your notes from these lessons is highly encouraged as we build upon these concepts throughout the course. Because we'll, in the resident portion, we'll be reviewing some of these again. Now let's review the structure of this course. After the completion of this lesson, which is lesson 0, we will continue through 8 lessons that guide students through the security cooperation AME process. Each lesson will include a period of platform instruction, facilitated discussion, and an exercise covering the concepts taught. So this is the schedule for next week. The schedule can be found in the resources area as well. All those times are on Eastern time. So some of you, Luke, I don't know if you're in Hawaii, you'll be joining us at 3 a.m. if you are, if you're at your other job on the, so I have empathy for you because I'm in Hawaii, so I've been through this already. So from 8 to 9 is the prep, so it's a good time to review the readings materials. Go to that webcast I mentioned before for the 3 to 4 minutes. That is the beginning of each lesson. From 9 to 11:30, we'll do a lesson, facilitated discussion, a small group exercise, and then your student presentations. We'll have lunch from 11:30 to 1300. Again, that's another good time to go through prep for your afternoon lesson. From 13 to about 1500, we'll have another lesson. Again, another small group exercise, another presentation from the small groups, and then we'll do a wrap-up. Do we have any questions on the what we're going to do next week? So either use chat or raise your hand. Rick?
I just wanted to inform everybody, as you break between the facilitated instruction and the exercise, that's a good time for the 10-minute break to get all your personal things taken care of. I would also ask everyone to, as you think through what Tim has talked to you about, we are looking for people who are good at their computer, can do Excel, Word, PDF documents, and can understand Blackboard to be the scribes. That's a real critical part of the learning when you're broken into your subgroups. Your subgroups will be given to you on Monday. So if you feel that you've got those experiences, please note back to either Tim or Amy that you're willing to do that. So we can bring you into that. So it's very helpful if you practice your Blackboard skills. Tim went through a few of those, but as you go through this is all about understanding Blackboard, and then the interaction becomes very good. So that's all I had, Tim. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick, for re-emphasizing that. The scribe is very important. If there's no other questions, I'll move on. So take a moment to review this diagram of the operational AME within the security cooperation planning process. Consider where you fit in, or so as some of you did fit in, are going to fit in, and are going to change to fit in. Consider what words and phrases you are familiar with and have encountered in your assigned duties, as well as the other areas that you may not be familiar with. To see some of these things, there's the magnifying tool in the upper left. You can click on that and zoom in on the document to look further if you do. So like I did in the intro, I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to ask you to describe where you fit in and what's familiar with you're with and what you're not. So Ben Kim.
All right, thank you. Looking at the diagram, where I fit in, currently I'm not directly involved in any of the programming aspect. I understand where they fall in terms of the assessments and the AFRICOM's theater security framework, where it goes from the assessments, we go into what we call RISWIG, and then later into StarWig, and then eventually down the road into congressional notification. So in this case, I don't necessarily fit in here at all. I can see and I can help facilitate and I can help coordinate folks' faces and places, but that's currently where I fit in, sir.
Okay, great. But you do fit in there toward the end there, because you're using your the evaluations, the output from those evaluations to inform Congress of what we're going to do. You're using a design document to inform Congress. So I think you do fit in there, even though you say you don't. Okay, Brandon.
Hi, Tim. As I mentioned in the introduction, I'm in the monitoring part of AM&E. And again, USER is working steadily to put together some type of AM&E process. So I think the course will be helpful for me to better understand the entire process. Thanks.
Thanks, Brandon. I've used a lot of USER's MOEs and MOPs for assessments and putting together plans. So look forward to your participation later this week. Casey.
So my current job as a contractor for AM&E is all the way through all of this stuff. The only thing that we don't actually do as a part of this is to do the actual evaluations. We do have a requirement to be a part of the evaluation because we're putting together the assessment all the way through the PAs and IDDs through all the way up through the SSCI proposals. So all the way through there.
Great, Casey. Glad you have a good understanding of it too. Dave?
Tim, I have touch points from the start to the finish of this particular chart. I don't specifically own any part of this, but I do have touch points, and I interact with subject matter experts that do touch these various elements.
Thanks, Dave. Actually, I'll skip you since you have problems with your mic, but I'll come back to you on Monday. Jeff?
Yeah, I think as others have said, currently working at the Pentagon, I'm not in this process necessarily, but what we are doing is, as I mentioned earlier, trying to align our projects with the larger objectives. So as you pointed out earlier, in terms of looking at are the teams, what kind of evaluations are coming out of it, looking at the programs that are being done, are they effective, and then adjusting that. What we really deal with is strategy. So we want to make sure that our medical security cooperation programs are fitting into both COCOM strategy as well as larger department strategy as we look across the globe. So I really look at all these different pieces, but then try and fit it into the bigger picture. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. And that actually helps answer Exie's in the chat. She's a training specialist and she doesn't see where she fits in, but as you can see, she fits in at the beginning because she's looking at is my training strategy effective? You're going to monitor your training strategy and you want to evaluate your training strategy throughout. So, Exie, I think you fit in through all this too as a training specialist. Jason.
All right. So I'm going to take the same card that a lot of people listed. I can see where we fit in various parts in this. So I'm up at AFRICOM's air component, Africa, working international affairs. So I would say most poignantly, we're involved in the design document and assessment phase. Oftentimes, programs or capability gaps are identified during the RISWIG capability packages to fit those things. So we'll work with our contractors and other resources we have to find out how the air component can work that. But in addition to that, I can see as AM&E develops and evolves and we kind of implement the full major forms and the AA, I can see the air component and other components getting involved throughout. It'll probably be an ROI type thing, how much resources we can devote towards it. But I'm looking forward to seeing that work.
Thank you, Jason. Jeff Gray.
Yeah, I'm just going to come on top of Jason, and of course, at AFRICOM as a program manager, I would say that we mainly, as program managers, influence the design and the monitoring piece for the most part. And then just over to you, Tim, just a question, because I mean, like Ben Kim, when he made the cut, as far as his current role, he didn't really have a piece in the AM&E. As far as the evaluation, I know as OSD has been kind of developing, the left and right limits of AM&E and developing a, so to speak, SOP that the DoD will follow as far as how we're going to implement this moving forward. I thought and again, this is one of those key pieces, the questions that were coming up over the past year as we've had these discussions with the SMEs that put this course together. But I thought that AM&E was going to kind of be pulled away from, the implementers, the COCOMs, and that was going to be something that was going to be managed more at the OSD, DSEA level as an external look at, DoD programs at large to feed that assessment back to Congress. Over.
So each of the COCOMs have contractors that are helping with the AM&E. I know at INDOPACOM there was about 8 or 9 of them. Some of them are being pushed out into theater, and they will help with the AME, but the AME process is staying with the COCOMs, and they will be responsible for it. Again, I've had to use AME products to answer RFIs to Congress. And then at a COCOM, you got to be able to know where you are at the beginning. You do the partner assessment. You need to know where they're at. One country is different from another. Cambodia is vastly different from Thailand and some of their capabilities. You need monitoring to see where you're going with your program. See if you're meeting the indicators, if you're doing the right things, doing things right. And then again, the evaluation, because Congress wants an evaluation now where we didn't have to have one before. And that's what they're requiring now is evaluations. You'll see more answering of RFIs from the evaluations. Does that answer the question?
It does, Tim. Thank you.
JD.
Yeah, so I think, at the level that we are, we're probably in the design portions and in conjunction with, our Air Force out there, probably some of the assessments and some of the activity that happens in there.
Thanks, JD. Jim?
Hi, can you hear me?
Lima Charlie?
Wonderful. We fall in AFRICOM really in the design document, but I see the AFRICOM building partner capacity, or the 5.8, as being the bridge between the country team, tactical, as well as the strategic interagency partners. And to your comment earlier about answering the mail on various RFIs, we do quite a bit of that. So I would imagine as we go down this road further, we will be doing more RFIs, evaluating the progress that programs are making, and of course making decisions or recommendations for on programs. But other than what Jeff Gray and others have said, pretty much that's my contribution. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim, and thanks for the supporting fires on that. John Hampton, we'll work with you at the end to see if you get your mic going. We'll skip you for now. John Morton.
Yeah, so I pretty much fit into the whole left side of the chart there, but primarily the outputs where the SMART objectives are. So I mentioned before I'm the LOA lead for operational logistics capability, and we've got LOA leads across UCOM directorates, the joint directorates, and those LOAs make up the country plan. And so under the LOA, we're responsible for the SMART objectives, the milestones and tasks, and then that drives our SS templates and proposals for the significant security cooperation initiatives. Over.
Great, and I love your use of LOAs because we'll begin more of that next week also. Jonathan.
Yeah, as a component CDO, I've helped with some of the inputs and design of certain 333 proposals, as the combat command and as the country team need me. Then, monitor from afar, but not really involved in the rest of the monitoring phase necessarily, in a technical aspect. But then, help with the evaluation, see if we want to change the program or request a new program, or evolve the security cooperation programming, as it were. So a little bit everywhere, but mostly the beginning and the end. Over.
Great, thanks. Monitoring from afar is still monitoring because you're by still looking at it. When you get to the evaluation, you are providing input. So monitoring from afar is still monitoring. Lori.
Hi, so as a branch as a whole, we pretty much have a play in each piece of this. From our AM&E, the UTAF assessments from the beginning through design document and SSCI template to proposal to IDD. So pretty much across the board, and then we hand it over for the actual monitoring and evaluation, but then it just gets fed back right back in. So across the board, pretty much.
Great, Lori, appreciate it. Luke, hopefully you're not in building 700.
Well, actually, due to COVID, I haven't even set foot in the building ever. So I'm brand new in this position. I'm a program officer, so I would assume I'm going to do a little bit of each, but probably mostly monitoring and assessment.
Great, thanks. And just for your information, when you do get there, they have a FLIR, and when you get in there to see if you're hot. So, Natalie, you're next.
Hi, so I don't have a direct role in AM&E for this slide, but with the international training and education, I think I have maybe an indirect role when it comes to the design document and those activities, and then the execution of those activities for those plans. Over.
Great. Yep, you fit in this just like Exie, so I think you will get a lot out of it this week. And Reno.
My role is in the design document phase or part, just ensuring that our case managers, OPRs, are actually creating smart objectives and developing a correct theory of change.
Great, Reno, thanks. And I thank everybody's input for this one. Again, trying to get that in-person experience. Everybody gets to know each other. And so I'll move on. So don't be scared yet. Like I said, we talked about before, we will go into small group activities. I'm not going to do it today for each one of the lessons. So upon completion of a session or learning outcome, students will be broken into small groups to complete assigned exercises. You'll be given a time limit. You'll see that XXX, 3 there. There'll be a time limit and a task due for presentation to the entire class. So each person's not going to have to brief it, but we will rotate through the small group to make sure that everybody briefs something during the back briefs of the presentations. Small group instructions will be presented virtually to help facilitate discussion and collaboration, as well as capture your work via screenshot to upload into the share content space for large group debriefs. You only need to do that part in lesson 1. Most of the other ones, again, are fillable PDFs, so we won't need to do a screenshot, just need to save it and then go to the share content space. I just talked about that. So as you may remember, the online course works sequentially through security cooperation AM&E. The README documents drove understanding of key concepts, which were then built upon through individual application. You had pre and post lesson quizzes to make sure you were learning and see if you're retaining all of the concepts. All of this was in preparation for the resident course, which you're about to begin on Monday, which actually we did a little bit today too. The methodology of the resident course is slightly different from the online course because it builds upon your baseline comprehension of the concepts. Each lesson in the resident course enables students to apply and analyze the concepts in a collaborative environment through the facilitated discussions, group exercises, and presentations within the webinar. So we are in a webinar now, so this is what a webinar is. Combined, the two courses enable students to achieve the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy, that's in the lower right. The ability to produce new or original work specific to learned concepts. We want you to learn the process, use it, and do original work. Your understanding of the key concepts learned during the online course will be built upon to ultimately enable you to create an SSCI proposal during lesson 8 of the resident course, as I previously mentioned. So this completes the course introduction. Do I have any questions? Okay, so like it's again, reiterate, please understand the Bandaria docs. Those are important to apply the lessons that you're going to learn next week, because we'll be using all of the data out of those. I'll stay online if anybody needs help with their tools, the Blackboard tools, and then see if Exie and John Hampton, see if we can work out your microphone, see what the issues are. So I will stop the recording now. John Morton.
Yeah, just a quick question. So I finished the online portion, received the certificate. I'm assuming that by receiving the certificate, the online portion is done. Only reason I'm asking is because one of the journal entries that I've had has not been evaluated yet, but I just want to make sure that if you do have the certificate, that's taken as that you have completed the online portion. Over.
Okay, I'll let Amy answer that. She's in 7 here. She was grading. Amy?
Hi. Yeah, I think well, as of a few minutes ago, the different exercises were graded. So thanks for everybody's work on that. I think the certificate is another question, and maybe we can take a look at that and get back to you. But if you have completed the exercises and the quizzes and the surveys, then that should complete the online portion. Have you completed those items and then you received the certificate? Is that where you're at?
That's where I'm at, and you said surveys, but I've only completed one survey. I know that in the instructions it said at the end of each course there would be a survey, but I didn't see that. There was only one survey. Over.
Okay, good. We will get back to you. We will let folks know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for raising it.
Thank you, Amy, for answering. Any other questions? So Amy, Lori says she's in the same boat as far as the previous question.
Good. Yeah, about as of a half an hour ago, at least, all the exercises have been graded. So if you're looking at earlier than that, you can go back and take a look now at the grades. So I think other than that, the question is the same. We'll have to look into the surveys and get back to you. Lori, do you want to maybe come online and say what you completed everything, but one wouldn't let you?
Yeah, lesson 5 is giving me like a hang up. So the interactive course, I've tried to go back into it multiple times, but it says it's not completed, but it's complete. And then the other piece in lesson 3, I sent a separate email to you because I hit submit instead of just save. And so I was only providing an answer to one portion of the question, but it won't let me update it. So I sent it to you in an email. I just don't know if that's sufficient.